A vast green world stretches across South America, so immense that it shapes the climate of an entire planet. It holds rivers that flow like oceans, forests that breathe like lungs, and life forms that science is still struggling to understand. Yet this ancient ecosystem, older than human civilization itself, is now facing a crisis that could redefine the future of Earth. The Amazon rainforest is the largest tropical rainforest on Earth, covering millions of square kilometers and influencing weather systems far beyond its borders. It is home to unparalleled biodiversity, complex indigenous cultures, and ecological systems that regulate global climate stability. Understanding the Amazon is not only about exploring a forest, but about understanding one of the most critical life support systems on our planet. The story of the Amazon, as known to the outside world, began during the age of European exploration. In 1541, Spanish explorer Francisco de Orellana became the first European to navigate the length of the Amazon River. His expedition revealed a vast and largely unknown territory, filled with dense forests, powerful waterways, and indigenous populations that had developed complex societies long before European arrival. Orellana's accounts described encounters with warrior tribes, including stories of female fighters, which led him to name the river after the Amazons of Greek mythology. While these descriptions were partially shaped by myth and misunderstanding, they introduced the Amazon to the global imagination as a place of mystery, danger, and immense natural wealth. Geographically, the Amazon basin spans across 9 countries, including Brazil, Peru, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Bolivia, Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana. The majority of the forest lies within Brazil, making it central to global environmental discussions. Covering approximately 5.5 million square kilometers, the Amazon rainforest represents more than half of the world's remaining tropical forests. At the heart of this ecosystem flows the Amazon River, the largest river by discharge volume in the world. It carries more water than the next 7 largest rivers combined and plays a vital role in sustaining the forest's intricate ecological balance. Seasonal flooding enriches the soil, supports diverse habitats, and maintains the complex web of life that thrives within the region. The Amazon rainforest is often described as the most biodiverse place on Earth. Scientists estimate that it contains over 390 billion individual trees representing more than 16,000 species. It is home to approximately 10% of all known species on the planet. However, this number may only represent a fraction of its true biodiversity, as new species are discovered every year. The forest is structured in layers, each with its own ecosystem. The emergent layer rises above the canopy, where the tallest trees reach toward the sunlight. Below it lies the dense canopy, forming a continuous green roof that blocks much of the sunlight from reaching the forest floor. Beneath the canopy, the understory supports shade-tolerant plants and smaller animals, while the forest floor, though relatively sparse in vegetation, is rich in organic matter and microbial life. Within these layers live some of the most iconic and elusive species on Earth. The jaguar, a top predator, moves silently through the undergrowth, maintaining the balance of the ecosystem. The harpy eagle dominates the skies, while countless species of insects, amphibians, and reptiles inhabit every niche. Rivers and flooded forests provide habitats for fish, river dolphins, and aquatic plants, creating a dynamic environment that changes with the seasons. Beyond its biological richness, the Amazon is also a cultural landscape shaped by human presence for thousands of years. Indigenous peoples have lived in the Amazon for at least 11,000 years, developing sophisticated knowledge systems that allow them to survive and thrive in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. Today, there are over 400 indigenous tribes in the Amazon basin, each with its own language, traditions, and way of life. Among them are the Yanomami, one of the largest relatively isolated indigenous groups in South America. They live in communal structures known as chabonos and rely on hunting, fishing, and small-scale agriculture. Their relationship with the forest is deeply spiritual and practical. They view the forest as a living entity, where every element is interconnected. Their knowledge of medicinal plants is particularly significant, as many modern pharmaceuticals have origins in compounds first used by indigenous communities. Indigenous survival strategies are based on sustainability. Rather than exploiting resources for short-term gain, they use methods that maintain ecological balance. Rotational farming, selective harvesting, and deep understanding of animal behavior allow them to coexist with the environment without depleting it. The Amazon also plays a critical role in the global climate system. It acts as a massive carbon sink, absorbing billions of tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Through the process of transpiration, trees release water vapor that contributes to cloud formation and rainfall patterns, not only within South America but across the globe. Research conducted by institutions such as NASA has shown that the Amazon influences atmospheric circulation patterns that affect weather systems in North America, Europe, and Asia. Similarly, conservation organizations like World Wildlife Fund emphasize that the forest is essential for maintaining global ecological stability. Despite its resilience and importance, the Amazon is under unprecedented threat. Over the past several decades, deforestation has accelerated at an alarming rate. Large areas of forest are cleared for agriculture, particularly for cattle ranching and soybean production. Logging, both legal and illegal, removes valuable timber while opening pathways for further exploitation. Satellite data reveals that millions of hectares of forest have been lost, with some years showing dramatic increases in deforestation rates. Fires, often set intentionally to clear land, have become more frequent and more intense. These fires not only destroy vegetation but also release significant amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, contributing to climate change. Scientists warn that the Amazon may be approaching a tipping point. This is a threshold beyond which the forest can no longer sustain its current structure and function. If deforestation and climate change continue at the current pace, large portions of the Amazon could transition into a savanna-like ecosystem. This process, known as dieback, would have catastrophic consequences for biodiversity, climate regulation, and human populations. The potential collapse of the Amazon rainforest represents one of the most serious environmental challenges of the modern era. The loss of this ecosystem would result in the extinction of countless species, many of which have not yet been studied or even discovered. It would disrupt global climate systems, leading to increased temperatures, altered rainfall patterns, and more extreme weather events. Indigenous communities would face displacement, cultural loss, and increased vulnerability to external threats. Their traditional knowledge, which has been developed over thousands of years, could disappear along with the forest that sustains it. At the same time, the release of stored carbon from deforestation and forest degradation would accelerate global warming, making it more difficult to achieve international climate goals. The interconnected nature of Earth's systems means that the consequences of Amazon destruction would be felt worldwide. Long before modern science attempted to map and measure the Amazon, the forest existed as a realm of stories. These were not just myths meant to entertain, but living narratives passed from generation to generation, carrying knowledge, warnings, and cultural identity. One of the most widely known legends is that of El Dorado, the golden city hidden deep within the jungle. Early Spanish explorers, inspired by indigenous accounts of ritual ceremonies involving gold dust, believed there existed a civilization overflowing with unimaginable wealth. Expeditions were launched into the depths of the Amazon, many of which ended in failure, starvation, or death. Over time, El Dorado became less a physical place and more a symbol of the unknown richness of the forest. Today, archaeological discoveries suggest that while no golden city existed in the mythical sense, complex and advanced societies once thrived in the Amazon, building networks of settlements connected by roads and supported by engineered landscapes. Another powerful legend comes from indigenous communities along the river, centered on a mysterious creature known as the Boto, or the Pink River Dolphin. According to folklore, the Boto is not merely an animal but a shapeshifter. At night, it is said to transform into a handsome man dressed in white, emerging from the river to visit villages. He dances, charms, and seduces, often disappearing before dawn and returning to the water. In many communities, unexplained pregnancies were historically attributed to the Boto, reinforcing its place in cultural storytelling. While modern science identifies the Boto as a unique freshwater dolphin species, its presence in folklore highlights the deep connection between people and the river ecosystem. Equally compelling is the legend of the Mapinguari, a creature feared by many tribes of the Amazon. Descriptions vary, but it is often portrayed as a massive, ape-like being with immense strength, a foul odor, and a mouth located on its abdomen. Some accounts claim it is invulnerable to weapons and emits terrifying sounds that echo through the forest. While dismissed by many as myth, some researchers have speculated that the legend could be rooted in distant memories of extinct megafauna, such as giant ground sloths that once inhabited South America thousands of years ago. Whether real or imagined, the Mapinguari represents the fear of the unknown that still lingers in unexplored regions of the forest. Another story, deeply embedded in Amazonian culture, is that of the Curupira. This spirit is described as a small figure with bright red hair and feet that face backward. The Curupira is believed to be the protector of the forest, confusing hunters and loggers by leaving misleading footprints and creating illusions that lead intruders astray. Those who exploit the forest excessively are said to be punished, while those who respect it are allowed safe passage. This legend reflects a moral framework that emphasizes balance and respect for nature, serving as a cultural mechanism to regulate human behavior within the ecosystem. The legend of the Yakyamama, or Mother of the Waters, introduces a more ominous presence. Said to inhabit the deepest parts of the Amazon River, Yakyamama is described as a gigantic serpent capable of swallowing entire boats. Indigenous communities believe that this creature controls the waters and must be respected before entering certain areas. Rituals and offerings are sometimes performed to seek its permission. While there is no scientific evidence of such a creature, the legend may be inspired by sightings of large anacondas or the natural dangers of navigating unpredictable river systems. In addition to these well-known myths, there are countless lesser-known stories that vary from tribe to tribe. Some speak of forest spirits that guide lost travelers, while others describe invisible beings that inhabit specific trees or rivers. These narratives often encode practical knowledge, such as identifying dangerous areas or understanding seasonal changes in the environment. Modern science has begun to uncover evidence that adds a new dimension to these ancient stories. Advanced technologies, including satellite imaging and lidar scanning, have revealed hidden structures beneath the forest canopy. These include geometric earthworks, raised fields, and remnants of large settlements, suggesting that the Amazon was once home to millions of people organized into complex societies. These discoveries challenge earlier assumptions that the Amazon was sparsely populated before European contact. Instead, it appears that indigenous populations developed sustainable systems that allowed them to live in harmony with the environment while supporting large communities. The decline of these societies, largely due to disease and colonization, transformed the landscape into what later explorers perceived as untouched wilderness. The intersection of myth and science in the Amazon highlights a broader truth. The forest is not only a physical space but also a cultural and intellectual frontier. Indigenous stories, once dismissed as superstition, are increasingly recognized as valuable sources of ecological knowledge. They offer insights into animal behavior, plant properties, and environmental patterns that have been refined over generations. As research continues, the Amazon remains a place where the boundaries between history, mythology, and science are often blurred. Each new discovery adds another layer to its story, revealing a complexity that extends far beyond what is visible on the surface. The Amazon rainforest is more than a geographic region. It is a vital component of Earth's life support system. Its forests regulate climate, its rivers sustain ecosystems, and its biodiversity holds untold scientific potential. It is also a cultural heritage, preserving the knowledge and traditions of indigenous peoples who have lived in harmony with nature for millennia. Today, the future of the Amazon is uncertain. Human activities continue to place immense pressure on its ecosystems, while climate change adds an additional layer of complexity. Efforts to protect the forest are ongoing, involving governments, organizations, scientists, and indigenous communities. The outcome of these efforts will shape not only the future of the Amazon but also the future of the planet. Preserving this ecosystem requires a global commitment to sustainable practices, environmental protection, and respect for indigenous rights. The story of the Amazon is still being written. It is a story of discovery, resilience, and transformation. It is also a story of responsibility. What happens next will depend on the choices made today, and the recognition that the fate of the Amazon is inseparable from the fate of humanity itself.